Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody for another night of VCS action here on VCS English. My name is Everyday, and with me as always is Vinnie, and a special guest tonight bringing another analytical voice is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. How are we tonight, boys?
I'm very good tonight, thank you.
Good to hear it, good to hear
Doing
it.
great.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
We were going to have a guest host, but unfortunately things happened, which is why the graphics look a little bit scuffed. We didn't have time to update them, but oh well, we press onwards, and we do have two good series for you tonight. We are, I say good. Perhaps that's being a little bit generous.
For you tonight.
We do have two series of games for you tonight, but before we go on to those, let's kind of talk about yesterday a little bit. What were some of the highlights, lowlights for you? If Rebel, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we kicked off our second rotation throughout all the teams playing one another, and we started with, I think, all four of the bottom teams in the league. So we got to see our first look of Saigon in the second half of the split, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who played today, of course. And Saigon, who, I mean, they won in week 2, and since then they really haven't been able to find ground whatsoever. Looked lost. We were talking about it right before the broadcast. The 𝗘𝗀𝗃 performance, up 6 kills. Are you kidding me? You can't kill the game when you've got 6 kill advantage. And on the opposite foot, OPG looked really, really good. They didn't end up with the series win, but Simon looks like a legitimate replacement in the top lane, and they've certainly kind of made better of what they've had on the roster from what we saw first round.
Yeah, it's very true. Style not being able to carry that 𝗘𝗀𝗃 game, it haunts me at night. I could barely sleep last night because I had dreams of his 𝗘𝗀𝗃 coming into my house and not killing me.
Yeah.
So, Vinny, what were your thoughts on yesterday's games? What did you think of the teams? Any thoughts?
Yeah. So we saw a lot of what we would have expected out of these teams. We saw 𝗏𝗏𝗏 come in with terrible drafts, but managed to overcome OPG by just being the superior team. But OPG is of course looking better as individuals. They're still making interesting decisions in terms of where they're contesting and making plays where they don't have to make them. But other than that, there are good signs for this team that mean they might not actually be our worst team, and our actual worst team might be the 6-0 𝗘𝗀𝗃 that ends the game 8-6.
I didn't think we would live in a world where Saigon Buffalo might be the worst team in the league. That is not something I've ever expected to say. But let's move on from the interesting situation of yesterday to kind of reflecting on the split as it's gone so far. Because with the end of yesterday's games, we actually hit the middle of the split. We have completed our first round robin. Every team has played every team. We are moving on to the second half of this summer split. We want to talk about potential MVPs. I don't think we're going to settle on one, but we've got a few candidates. So, Vinny, you want to kick us off with the first candidate?
So our first candidate is Flash's mid laner, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Last split we were like, this guy is probably not MVP material. Honestly, he's a good facilitator.
He was a rookie.
He was a rookie. Yeah, and he was a good facilitator. He set up Slater. He set up Yoshino in the main half for the main part of the split, and he was a very good role player in his team. But now he's been on his carries, and he has been carrying this team 100% with Ryze, with Orianna, things like that. He's no longer just the Galio guy. He's now the star on Flash at the moment.
Yep. And I agree, he's been very, very impressive. I think he did get our community's Rookie of the Split last split.
Did.
So glad that we can call the talent. Rebel, how about you give us a look at our second candidate?
Yeah, from GAM, we actually have 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗃 in the top lane. And it's really interesting because GAM has almost the opposite problem where, for Flash, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has been like the superstar, kind of the rock that holds everything together. And the opposite foot, 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗃 is pretty much the only note of consistency with GAM. They seem to go 2-1 every single series, find way to lose games they absolutely should not. And yet you always look to that top side of the map, and 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗃 is just dominating his matchup against a lot of really good top laners. He stands out just a cut above everybody else at the moment, and it's something that GAM can rely on coming into the second half of the season.
Yeah, for sure. 𝗬𝗗𝗃 has always been a super consistent, super solid player, even with the state of Garm at the moment, not having much going in the super solid department. And our third candidate, if I look in our Discord, actually, just Vinny, how about you just tell us who it is, and both of you can discuss the player for our third option.
Our third candidate is Artemis for Cerberus Esports. Awesome. He has been arguably the best player in the league up until a couple of scuffed games in the most recent weeks, but he has been, he's been the big carry on that team, and that team has, until recently, was undefeated. So, very good player, very good team, and he's a shining star, I guess. I don't know.
He's been arguably the best player in the league.
Absolutely, yeah.
At times, unfortunately, Cerberus.
At times.
He's been making some interesting decisions at times. We're not going to decide on one MVP or anything like that. We just want to highlight multiple names. So these are just some of the people we are looking at. Of course, none of them are playing in our first series tonight. God, I wish they were. But before we go into that one, let's have a look at the predictions. Of course,
yes, they are
Rebel, we don't have your predictions, but you can obviously just tell us what they are as I bring them up on screen. The casting team is having a great time. We're doing great, boys. Rebel, what would your predictions for today be?
I had OPG 2-1 over top of Saigon, and then I believe that I had Flash 2-0 over %.
Right. Apparently, unfortunately, our graphics have not been reflected to the change I made. I actually have Flash 2-1 and Buffalo 2-1 now. Just saying.
I also did a last minute change to Buffalo losing to OPG 2-1.
Enough. You guys have really lost faith, which is, I mean, I can't blame you. I still think the Buffalo will get out on top in the end, but it's definitely one of those ones that could go both ways. I can see myself being wrong.
When your AD carry's best performance is after 5 target bans and then he still loses the game, it's just you've got no hope. This is with a Italy going 7-2, right?
You're not wrong.
On top of that, so I'm.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty bad. That's being generous, I think. We will, of course, move into talking about the first match. One thing I want to bring up before we do is some of the champions we might expect to be coming in. I do have a graphic, but I've forgotten where I put it. There it is. This is the highest presence champions in the VCS. I think globally, most of these make sense except for one. And I trust me, every day is not high presence. That text is just...
I don't know. He's in every game.
I've seen him in every VCS game.
I promise. That's just, yeah, okay. Anyway, cracking on. It is, of course, Syndra, Aphelios, Thresh, Nidalee, and Kalista. We're having a great time. I was really meant to host tonight, boys. I think all of them are fairly globally consistent, except Nidalee. Nidalee is a bit of a VCS special. At least at this high.
Yeah, I mean, we see it everywhere. We see a little bit in LPL, we see a little bit in 𝗀𝘁cie, and its preference. It's almost like a Czech champion. If somebody wants to be dishonest and go like super farm heavy Grave, super farm heavy Kayn, something like that, you punish with some aggression with Nidalee. And on the opposite foot, if they play something super aggressive, then Nidalee can transition, be that power farm, or try to play a little bit more passive. And honestly, it's just a preference pick. All of our junglers like to make those plays early on, like to hit those spears, make those big leap in assassinations. So you gotta at least expect that to be the case here in the VCS.
Yeah, I think the difference in the VCS is how often Nidalee is actually seen as the power pick rather than as a counter. Nidalee is often just seen as like independently pretty fantastic, and we do have some very good Nidalee players. Nidalee has always been the VCS champion, even when she's been like really garbage and no one playing her around the world. She still has like a 70% pick rate in the VCS. They just love this champion.
Yeah, I think of it as she's our version of Lee Sin, right?
But we also have Lee Sin. Why do we have both?
Yeah, because it's the presence of Levi, right? Everyone wants to be the next Levi. That's all it is. But yeah, she's always picked, and while she's actually, and of course, if she's even remotely close to meta, you can expect to see her in high priority over hero, especially.
Of course. But let's keep on going on. Of course, we do have OPG taking on SGB, as we've mentioned. What did we think about the last time they met? Vinny, of course, you were around. Do you remember much about their first meeting?
Yes.
I wish we didn't, but go ahead and tell us how that one went.
So this actually made me think, oh, there's actually a good chance of hope for OPG coming into the split. Because if we think back to last split, OPG was, as we know it now, was VGA. And they started off the split really strong, and they had and then their jungler disappeared off the face of the earth, and then they became terrible. Now they've actually got a jungler. Oh my god, this team beat Buffalo. Buffalo we thought was really good. So this team's back. It turns out it was all a double bait. They were both bad. But we saw 𝗲𝗄𝗃 do his best. 100%. He carried one game. He almost carried a second game on 𝗂𝗃𝗃. But in the end, it was really down to the strength of Xin on Bard and, I guess, PhD in the mid lane being able to beat around Froggy and Style.
Yep. Rebel, I don't know if you watched that game. I don't know if you've gone back and watched it. Kudos to you if you did. I know I haven't gone back and watched it, but do you remember that one? Did you have any thoughts?
Week 2.
Do you have any players to watch?
Yeah, I think actually a big portion of what happened in the first series was that whichever jungler really held control the first 10 minutes of the game just absolutely smashed the map. It was not just like a trade of objective here, a trade of plays, like a little bit went in their way. No, it was Dragon, it was Rift Herald, it was First Tower, it was First Blood. Everything went in the way of the dominating jungler. So I really want to see both junglers take that front foot in this series because that seemed to be what dictated the game. Even in that game 3, which was a lot closer because of 𝗲𝗄𝗃 doing his best to try to put the team on a backpack, it didn't matter because all of that early free stat that you got from the Lee Sin coming through from the side of OPG was just too much to overcome.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, since those games kind of came out, of course, OPG did get the win. We thought we still had higher hopes for Buffalo. We thought maybe it's just an upset. Maybe OPG are a bit better than we thought. But the Buffalo have been on a ridiculous downwards trend. At this point, I don't know if is it a downwards trend or are they just cruising along the bottom? It's hard to say. While OPG have started looking better. They're not converting to wins yet, but they are starting to look better. So let's talk about players to watch, and this can be both who might carry and who might lose in the game. Vinny, who are your kind of pick a player to watch from SGB?
So a player to watch, we always have to look towards the top lane. Even though he's been on a bit of a downturn, we always have to think, hey, maybe 𝗲𝗄𝗃's got this. 𝗲𝗄𝗃 is by far the most improved player in the VCS I think we've seen, especially from his Raizo days. And yeah, like he almost pulled it out on that 𝗂𝗃𝗃. He had that one like 17 and something performance on Kennen that one against Garm, I think it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just this man
Free him.
always has the ability to do something.
Get him out, please. Free him.
Free him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is always the 𝗲𝗄𝗃 potential with SGB. They can always just have a game where 𝗲𝗄𝗃 goes 5-0 in lane, and he can actually carry from that scoreline. We'll get back to that, of course. But throwing it over to the OPG side of the coin, who is your player to watch, Rebel?
I would say, like, if you had to pick just one to take a look at on the map all the time, it's Xin. You made mention of it, I think, earlier on in the broadcast, or somebody made mention of it earlier on in the broadcast.
In the first series, yeah.
That's what it was, yeah, in the first series, yeah. It seems to me like OPG, they don't really know how to play macro at all. So their best bet is just always be fighting. So here's the game plan. You take Xin, you put him on Bard, you put him on Thresh, you put him on Pantheon, you put it on something in the support role that goes out on the map and fights constantly, and they get outnumbers. They get plays on the map across the board. They take those skirmish wins and then can translate it to neutral objectives. It doesn't always work out perfectly like that. But in my mind, if Vin is out on the map making plays happen, that's the best bit here for OPG.
Yep, I agree with that. Now, I hate to do it to you fellas, but noticed we're already running over time and the Vietnamese stream is still not turned on. So who knows how far away the games are. I don't want to use up all of our analysis. So wait, I'm actually going to throw it back to a break screen. We are really sorry, guys. I know the game should be, you know, a few minutes away from starting, but the stream's not on. They're not.
Yeah.
So I will bring us back. We can kind of close out our thoughts and then get into game. We'll see you guys soon. Again, very sorry, but I don't know what's going on. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. At this rate, we're going to have to reenact it with finger puppets.
Yeah.
That'll be a mess.
Might be more exciting with finger puppets, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
100%.
But we'll see you guys soon. Sorry again.
Welcome to In Hindsight. My name is Yulwei, and today we're going to take a magical journey into the domain of one of the champs that has been tearing up the VCS server split so far. Dominating the map and team fights, as well as finding unique paths around the rift, 𝘁𝗏 has been the most outstanding support champion in our region so far. Let's look at some stats first. 𝘁𝗏 currently holds a 76% win rate in 17 games, going 13-4 so far. 𝗀𝗏𝗶, 𝘁 and even OPG support 𝘁 are unbeaten on the champion. The 51% presence, 𝘁𝗏 is the second most picked support, only trailing behind 𝘁𝗏𝗏. Why is this champion so successful in the VCS? With a solid play and win rate, 𝘁𝗏 is by no means a stranger to any of the global leagues, but the VCS is the league he likes to sing about most. 𝘁𝗏 is a very unique champion. I would argue his is one of the most special champion designs in the game, warping a lot of usual play patterns and offering multiple unique play paths. Everyone who saw the incredible game from 𝗀𝗏𝗶 against 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗏 last week will probably turn their eyes to 𝘁𝗏's ultimate, and don't you worry, we are going to focus on 𝗕𝘂𝗺𝗵𝗏 later on in this video. But first off, let's take a look at the other tools in 𝘁𝗏's rich arsenal and how they lead to success in the VCS. His passive slow and the Q slow damage and stun offer 𝘁𝗏 one of the strongest early trading patterns in the game. As a ranged champion, he is able to control waves and add quite a lot to the bot lane dynamic. In the following clips, we can see how 𝘁𝗏 is able to chase down targets and set up his ADC for success. Ashe, and to a lesser extent Aphelios, can also fluidly fit into the dynamic combo, either to set up 𝘁𝗏 for his chase potential, or to follow up on a 𝘁𝗏 play and finish the job. With utility and CC capable ADCs in the meta, 𝘁𝗏 thrives from the word go. I don't want to sell his ability to roam and use his chimes to still keep up in level short, as 𝘁𝗏 is able to influence the map early and maintain a very high level. On average, 𝘁𝗏s in our league are slightly down in gold, but massively ahead in experience at 15 minutes. This video will however not spend too much time on roaming and influencing other lanes, as that, at least conceptually, is not unique to 𝘁𝗏. Rather, his two other basic abilities are very much a core part of his exclusive identity. While Q start gives 𝘁𝗏 and his lane partner a lot of strength in level 1 traits, W can influence other lanes without 𝘁𝗏 having to do anything. As you can see here, 𝘁𝗏 places shrines in the mid lane so that Glory on his Zoe can play very aggressively and is able to disregard usual HP concerns. After all, what kind of caretaker wouldn't want his ally healthy? His shrines can also make the natural need to go for chimes easier, as he can just place 3 shrines at his bot laner's turret and wander off for a while to collect his toys. Lastly, his most fascinating and game-altering base ability is his magical journey. This split alone, this ability has helped multiple teams countless of times to disengage from a disadvantageous position or set up ganks through unpassable terrain. Gunn used 𝘁𝗏 here to get back into the game against 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗏 after a horrible early game. In this clip, everyone manages to get away from a dangerous looking teamfight around Dragon, while in the next one, Baron's pit is transformed into an easily passable channel. Providing teams with the ability to disengage through walls after taking an otherwise risky objective is one of the most valuable assets VCS 𝘁𝗏s have granted to their users. But all that is of course overshadowed by the craziest ability in the game, 𝗕𝘂𝗺𝗵𝗏. No other ability can alternate every targetable thing on the map. 𝘁𝗏's ultimate is infamous for costing his team more than it offers, but when used well, it can be the game-breaking ability. The only thing stopping herald charges, freezing big monster objectives or minions, 𝘁𝗏's ultimate leaves everything up to the imagination of the player to shoot for the stars. There is no time to show all different facets of this incredible ability, or even all the facets already displayed in this split. How did the best 𝘁𝗏 players in Vietnam use this ultimate in their games? We all know that this region loves to fight all the time. Therefore, every successful champ needs to be capable in one way or another to contribute to the inevitable big team fights that are to occur. There are mostly 2 different ways to temper fate with 𝘁𝗏 in teamfights. Alternate the enemies to a horrible fate, or aid your allies towards a brighter future. In the VCS, 𝘁𝗏s have prioritized the former, and to a great effect. This ultimate from the best 𝘁𝗏 player in the league, Cerberus 𝗀𝗏𝗶, changed the entire fight. He hits 3 members right when 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗀 get into position to fight. With 𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗀 as well as Divine Judgment already invested to reorganize battle lines, SGB has bought some space for their composition to fight from a safe distance. It is relatively difficult for Cerberus's comp to chase, as many of the engaged tools are down and most of their champs are very low range. Thus, a standoff in this position would favor 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗀. But Bard catches 3 champs, putting them in stasis for 2.5 seconds, which gives Cerberus the time to catch up, even while affected by the Braum ultimate, and get their short-range carries into position to attack. This one ability was able to completely change the fight in the favor of Bard's team. In the following clips, the same principle applies. Bard ult gives his team enough time to catch up to the targets and allowing his team to chime in and bring the damage. Of course, this comes with a certain risk. There are some situations in which the Bard ultimate leads to teams overchasing into dangerous flankable positions or underestimating the enemy team's ability to fight back. In this clip, 𝗧 hits a flawless ultimate and 𝗬𝗃 collapses instantly, but Team Secret calls in TPs and 𝗬𝗃 can't get away now, so they lose the fight even though they were set up well by the caretaker. In this dragon fight, Venus catches out 2 𝗬𝗃 members with another nicely aimed tempered fate. Unfortunately for his team, the 2 champions hit are Lee Sin and Thresh, who are far from the primary targets in a 25-minute full-on 5v5 clash. Magically drawn to the shiny statues of Levi and 𝗧, Team Secret move into a narrow corridor, exposing themselves to a counterattack from 𝗬𝗃 and losing this important teamfight from an even position. Overall, the positive outcomes outweigh the few negative examples though, as catching up to the enemies is one of the main problems of many bruisery champions in the meta right now. Bard can provide them with the necessary time and mobility to get on top of their targets and bite, wrestle or spin them to death. Using your ultimate to set your own teammates into stasis can be quite dangerous and hard to pull off, as the AoE might just hit the aggressor too, ultimately only delaying inevitable death, or worse, leaving the protected in an even more precarious spot. Luckily, Bard is here to stay, and we will have many more opportunities to look for the next evolution in Bard play for the rest of the split. Thank you for joining me on this magical journey through In Hindsight Episode 3, and don't forget to tune in from Friday to Sunday so we can take this.
welcome back, everybody. We do finally have something to bring you. I don't know why I'm not in the shot, but we'll fix that up in no time at all. We had a lot of time to think, so how about you guys give me your final impressions as we go into this game. Vinny, do you want to talk through how 𝘁𝗱𝗄𝗏𝗡𝗆 can get the win here?
Well, okay, so Simon has been a huge upgrade for OPG, but it might not be enough for them. If 𝗲𝗃 can show up, Meliodas, he's on his way up as well. So play through top jungle and get Froggy roaming up there. Just sack bot lane. It's useless. It's not going to do anything. Push top, push and win. That's how they're doing it.
Yep. Pretty much. And Rebel, what about you? How does OPG take the win?
I think Simon takes Renekton. You stonewall top lane. 𝗲𝗃's out of the game, and then you fight everywhere. You light fires all over the map, anywhere you can, in typical OPG fashion. And given the right count position, given the right suggestion in top lane, shutting down 𝗲𝗃, I think they got more than a good enough chance to take the series.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As I think it's going to be tricky for either team to really play to a clean win condition. And the fact that your win condition for them, and not that I'm disagreeing with you, is light fires all over the map, kind of shows what kind of teams we're dealing with today. But, oh well. We have to deal with what we have to deal with. And of course, it is good to see how the bottom of the table shake out. We don't have an FTV anymore. FTV were a team got relegated at the end of last split. They just didn't even want to win. They just lost games and it was really, really boring. At least these teams fight. At least they try. And, oh, cool. Whatever. I'm happy with that.
I mean, it is worth mentioning. I'm pretty sure it's nearly impossible for these two teams to avoid relegation. So I wouldn't even care if they aren't exactly looking to win from here on out and just looking to improve.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have to go into the tournament, might as well have your best shot at it.
They could theoretically overtake %, as % is on a downward trend as well. Theoretically, I would say that these are probably our relegation teams at this halfway point in the split, but there is a long way to go. We saw, things like QG in spring 2019, where they looked like a playoff contender and then finished 8th. Good job, guys. I hope 𝘁's not watching. That would bring back painful memories for him. But this is a tricky one to call, I think. Why don't you guys just kind of talk me through more of your thoughts? And yes, we're running out of planned analytical points due to how this has all gone. Can you tell? But Rebel, why don't you start us off and just kind of spin your mind a little bit?
Sure. I mean, we talked about ideally having that thing. I guess some picks we can go to. I want to see on both sides for OPG. Again, I talked about Renekton being a good stonewall for top lane, preventing 𝗲𝗃 from having the kind of laning phase he can use to take over the game. I really do think that Bard helps a lot, especially with Vin, but also it's just a fantastic pick in the VCS in general. And Lee Sin, I think, is also a really imperative pick. When this series first came about, Lee Sin was picked, I think, in 2 of the games that ended up winning because of that early game pressure you could exert against the other junglers. So I would like to see at least some of those champions come out here, at least for OPG's side.
Oh, where did they go? Oh no. Vinny, you give us your thoughts. I'll try and get you back on screen. I don't know what's happened. Oh god, OBS hates me.
I do like the mention of the Renekton pick, because that is all Simon has been playing so far. I want to see them push him off that. Give it to 𝗲𝗃. 𝗲𝗃 shouldn't have any issues with, if he has that pick, what's Simon going to play there? Is Simon going to pull out the Quinn? I mean, I don't know. We've only seen him play Renekton, so can't actually make a judgment on that.
Yeah,
but
would be.
I think you definitely have to try and, I don't know, do we want to see maybe putting style on Caitlyn, the pick he actually showed promise on? Maybe.
I don't think it's a terrible option. I mean, obviously, if you're not finding success with what is considered successful in the meta, then you got to try something. I don't think Ashe has been particularly horrible either. I mean, the champion has used pretty much. It doesn't matter if you're 6-0 or if you're 0-6. The champion gonna have the ultimate, gonna have the hawk shot, things of that sort to support the team. And let's be real. Also, I think 𝘂𝗲 plays through topside. We already made mention. 𝗕𝗄𝗃 and 𝗦𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗃 do a lot of the work. You might as well throw some utility onto your AD carry if they aren't capable of taking you get through fights that you think they can win.
Yeah, that is true.
It's very, very true. I think it's interesting though, because 𝘁𝗲𝗄's actually been struggling in a couple of games recently. We often kind of joke about how they keep sticking him on tanks, and please stop doing that, SGB. You have to recognize that him playing a carry is like, it's your win condition. Please play to it. Stop putting him on Ornn. Stop putting him on 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗻. But he's actually been losing matchups he should win. It was on the 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗻 yesterday that I'm thinking of. Against a Wukong. It's meant to be a counter matchup, and he went 0-4 in lane. So they might even have lost their one win condition.
Yeah, I think now you might actually be looking to really go back to what they were doing at the start of the split and double down on 𝗦𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀 on an AD carry in the jungle. Play the Graves, play the Kindred, because 𝗦𝗀𝗀𝗀 has been stepping up. He's done a lot better. But as we say that, I think we are going into draft.
That we are. We're going to stick with this team for now as we head into draft. Yeah, we're doing it for the first series. we're trying things out tonight. You might notice things changing up throughout the night. We'll have to see. We are heading straight into the draft so far. Twisted Fate, Senna, and Syndra have been removed. So far, that all makes sense. Froggy always draws a Twisted Fate ban at this point. It's his best champion. Everything else is just a bit of tier list. What other things might we be expecting here?
These three bans are like perma-banned against Buffalo. I'm pretty sure the Wukong was the only one that occasionally gets through, but yeah, Senna is banned 80% of the time, Wukong 53% of the time. These are definitely the bans against Buffalo.
And 𝘂𝗲𝗏 even does a little bit of homework, because you see they take the Bard away, making sure that Xin can't get his hands on that one. And then they also take away Pantheon, which can be flexed a little bit to like mid and jungle and then the support role. That's another takeaway from Xin, to make sure he can't roam around the map on something powerful in that AD position. Not to mention, now you've got 𝘂𝗫𝗏 into Ashe Pantheon. That's a really rough laning phase for the 𝘂𝗫𝗏.
Yeah. I also want to take note. Vin is in, not Simon.
I was about to mention.
Very interesting, because Vin has been pretty lackluster. He had a decent performance against Buffalo in their first matchup, but since then he's been kind of not very good. And so I would have liked to see Simon in there. I think that might have been, you might have seen a Renekton instead of this Jace pick if that were the case, but we're going to see us making some of a poke comp coming out of Overpower.
So definitely looking that way so far. Nidalee and the Jace, of course, big parts of that. We're not going full VCS poke comp, as there's no AP Shyvana, of course. 𝗦𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, he's I think a few people in our community might be looking at the 𝗦𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 at the moment, as he's gone back to his infamous pick of Lee Sin. Let's hope he can have a bit more success on that than he has in the past. As I just noticed, apparently the Buffalo get 2 coaches. All right. Can't lose draft when you got 2 coaches, right? Got Yuna and Iris. God.
Yeah, apparently that's a thing you can do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see here target bans towards the best, who we would probably say are the best players on the opposing teams. You've got the Thresh, you've got the support focus from Buffalo, and the top focus from OPG.
I very much enjoy that Wukong and Kennen are taken off the board, because I think 𝘁𝗲𝗏 needs arguably something that's really good in team fights alongside something that can express in laning phase, and Wukong and Kennen are kind of 2 cuts of that same cloth, where like the team fighting damage is there with the AoE, but also in the laning phase doesn't do poorly. And they're really taking away those champions in that regard. I'm curious if they go to another. Okay, there we go. The Quinn's taken off the board.
I mean, surely they just pick Renekton now, right? Like, Buffalo have first pick here. They could just pick the
Yeah,
Renekton. You don't
I think
have
you just
to let
pick Renekton here.
You don't have to let OPG play Renekton. You are allowed to pick it, guys.
I think if you do pick the Renekton, you're saying to 𝗲𝗃𝗃, all right, we know you can flex Jace back up into it, but I think we'd be fine with that. They'd be fine with that matchup. And then you leave Froggy open to pick maybe his Neeko or whatever. So it's probably going to be Pantheon mid then.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
My word.
Yeah. However, the Braum pick is good into the Nidalee and the Jace, so it's not the worst option here. And I think they...
Why do they not?
Having that counter pick bot is very nice.
Hello.
Like, I would rather Braum here than in R5. That's all I'm saying.
Hello. Have you not noticed that pick? Alistar.
Yes, now that they know the Pantheon is not in the bot lane, going the Alistar is a very good pick into the Braum. It's very nice, paired up with the Kalista, because you can throw him in with the ult and he doesn't even have to commit his W for the knockup, and then he can just bounce you back. Fiora into Renekton.
It's not that good. See, like, this is the problem. That's your counter pick? Yeah. That's your counter pick? Come on.
Yeah.
Just pick Renekton. Stop letting OPG have Renekton.
Yeah, with Renekton not having any actual counters beyond the Quinn pick, yeah, you probably should have taken that and just said, all right, we're going to counter pick mid lane. But they decided to take the Pantheon into the Jace, even though, yeah, the Neeko was open, and that is probably Froggy's best performing champion this split, as I bite my tongue.
Good job. While you recover from that auto cannibalism, Rebel, why don't you give us your opinion on these team comps? Moving out from my molding about top lane picks, what do you think of the overall comps? If you want to start with OPG.
Yeah, I mean, OPG, they've given themselves a fair amount of poke tools. You put DK and PHT in really good situation. And then you look at the front line they've got with, like, Xin, and you've got the Renekton as well on, so yeah, Alistar, Renekton on your front line. It's something that can sustain itself, has a lot of damage in the upfront, and then there's good supporting damage behind it. The one problem is, I think late game, they're going to struggle a little bit in terms of just pure raw damage output, unless the Jace and the Nidalee really start to pop off, because Renekton falls a little bit to the wayside, Kalista falls a little bit to the wayside, so they're relying really heavily on your poke bursty type champions to do a lot of that work. And on the other side, I mean, my biggest flaw with this composition, you've got a lot of CC, and you've got a lot of really good pick potential, but Hum said he's the only AP champion, and he's sitting there. I think first off, you're going to go in the death realm, so you're already not going to be putting that damage onto multiple members. Two, I mean, are you sitting there to ultimate the Alistar? Is that your intention here? You're gonna ult Alistar, and he's gonna ult immediately out, and now you've got literally nothing to show for the champion. And then, as you were saying, also the matchup into Renekton isn't particularly fantastic either. So I'm a little lost in that regard. They can play a really good zoning style with Braum, with Ashe, and then of course with their pick potential. But I do see quite a bit of struggle in the future of Saigon.
That's true. So can both of you just very briefly tell me who you think's going to win here? Just give me 3 letters each. Rebel, who are you going to pick to win?
OPG.
All right, Vinny, OPG or SGB?
I think, OPG.
All right, and we will now throw over to our casting team. Thank you, analyst, and thank you, lovely host. And we will now go over to Everyday and Yulwei. Take it away, boys. Oh, thank you, Everyday. Really
thank you very much for hosting Everyday.
Come on, you ruined my joke there, man. Thank you very much, Everyday. You're such a handsome guy, such a good host. And I'll take over for the play-by-play now. Don't worry, mate. But welcome your way. It was, we were meant to have another host. It didn't work out. Whatever, doesn't matter. Let's get into game. What do you think of these comps? What do you think of them getting
Man, I just checked the champion pools for OPG, and some very interesting things came up here. So it's the first Alistar for Xin. It's the first Jace for PHT, but then top side is something they play every single game. DK has now played, this is his 9th Nidalee game. I think he's like 4th or 5th in a row. He really is only a Nidalee one track now, and he has looked incredible on Nidalee. So maybe that's something you have to attack, especially if OPG is able to win this game. And then, as you pointed out in draft, of course, Yeah, Renekton. They really like to play Renekton. Simon has only played Renekton, 5 games of Renekton. This is now the 3rd for Vin. So overall, 8 games on Renekton, 2 for this team. Yeah, I have to echo that point to you.
They know they can take it away, right? Like, they banned the Quinn. They may as well have walked up to the other team and said, hello, I'm a representative from OPG. We'd just like to tell you we're going to play Renekton top. Okay, yep, we'll let you. Thumbs up. Come on, guys.
Yeah, the Quinn ban into the not picking Renekton is quite puzzling. I don't understand what the plan was there. Just leave the Quinn open if you plan on doing that. It's like, okay.
And all you
you just wasted a ban.
And all you had to counter it was a 𝗲𝗂𝗲𝗄?
Right.
Yeah. And 𝗲𝗂𝗲𝗄 for 𝘂𝗲, I mean, traditionally he was a good pick, but in this split, not his greatest. He just doesn't have the agency to carry the whole game. It's not his canon. It's not his Wukong. He can't win team fights alone on this champion. And as you pointed out in pregame as well, he even struggled to 1v1 yesterday against Zeros, of course. So I'm worried for this team composition on SGB's side. I feel like they lack damage mostly. Style hasn't been great, and he's on I wouldn't say low damage ADC, but on the lower end. And then the full early game power from 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏, so he doesn't really bring much damage. We have Lee Sin in the jungle, who isn't known for consistent DPS either. So where is the damage coming from in mid game? They really have to snowball heavily from 𝘁𝗏𝗏 hitting level 6 and impacting all the other lanes.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I think both teams definitely don't want this game going particularly late. There's no big late game hyper carries or anything really on either side. And I think something Rebel pointed out just as we were getting into game and while we were watching draft is, who does 𝗲𝗂𝗲𝗏𝗏 death realm in team fights? Who does he actually death realm? Obviously around objectives, it'll be the jungler. But in a normal 5v5, he doesn't win against anyone.
It's not easy.
You can't even death realm
between the 2 solo laners.
You can't even death realm the support because it's an Alistar.
No. You can't really go on Vid either, because he's one of the hardest ADCs to lock down. Yeah, we have a little bit of a gank setup for 𝗲𝗏𝗏 though. Is he going to go for this one? They are pushed in, so this could be an opportunity. Sadly, it's only Braum, so it's kind of hard to get a setup from the bot lane here.
Of course, there's lots of slows because of the Ashe.
They're pushing in further, so this... Okay, he's a little bit late, and they actually pinged him out. Look at this. 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏 is pinging her path. Maybe it's only pinging her path, and they don't actually expect him to be here. So this could be a clash of the junglers. And 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, I think, has missed this opportunity to go for the gank. A little bit too late. Yeah,
and now 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏 spots that her Krugs are gone, and they'll know that 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏 was here. Of course, he's now left. And I mean,
so that's not actually quite quite confusing for OPG, because he was there but didn't show at any time, so they don't actually know when he went there. The last time they spotted him, he was bot side jungle, so they probably have an idea that it can't be that long ago, but it's still a little bit confusing. So it might be the case that 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a little bit of time where the enemy team has to figure out where he actually wants to go, with him not being seen on the map for a while. And there are no pings anywhere in the jungle, so it seems like 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is right now a little bit confused as to where the Lee Sin could be.
And we're already seeing the result of continuing to give OPG Renekton. It's already a 10 CS lead. And yes, okay, fine, 𝗲𝗏𝗲𝗏𝗏 into Renekton, you do go down in CS, but you opted into this. You knew this was going to happen. And I don't understand why they keep putting 𝘂𝗲𝗏 in bad matchups, as Buffalo start up the Dragon, which is nice. They should get this uncontested.
Yeah, it was spotted by the Sentinel there, but there's no one to contest them.
There's a lot of
pings. They want to go there, and 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
DK's on the way in. Hin can block a spear, and there's the 𝘂𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏, and everyone should be able to get out as long as no one oversteps. Guys, Hin, you missed the crab, really? Oh, come on now. As it is DK that secured the crab. Very well done there. But a crab for a dragon, I think the Buffalo are happy.
Yeah, OPG, once again, showing their tendencies to contest every single objective. This time a little bit late, maybe for the better. Honestly, this has been their downfall more often than not. So maybe missing an objective here and there isn't the worst thing that can happen to this team. They lose the first dragon. Now 𝗦𝗂𝗲𝗍 way overextended.
Wow,
Froggy.
yeah, this is far, far forward, but Xin has come to bail him out. The teleports are all coming in. We've got a real Royal Rumble here. Froggy will be the first one over the top rope. Hin has to flash away. Can he recuperate in the corner? Looks like he can. Vin now pulled, but 𝗁𝗲𝗻's in the middle of it all, and will he be the next one thrown out? He's gone into the Death Realm, as he did actually have that level 6, and it's 1-for-1 again in the second half of the fight. 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗧 flashing away from the 𝗀𝗲𝗏, but it's all going wrong here. OPG is absolutely cleaning the fight up. And Froggy rejoins. It's round 2, boys. Ding, ding, ding. And Froggy might be regretting his choices. He rejoined, and I think he wishes he didn't, as he's just fed the triple kill.
The triple kill to win. What a perfect start for this ADC now on one of the strongest early game ADCs in the game. And OPG strike first. OPG strike first in the battle of the bottom. These two teams are really struggling to get any victories over anyone. OPG came close yesterday, but couldn't put the final nail in the coffin. But this is a good start. Looks quite decent, but Xin is here and really turns around the fight. Buys enough time for Vin to arrive, who's level 6, so he has a lot of AoE damage with the Renekton. And 𝗁𝗲𝗏 very late on the Death Realm here. He waits a long time and then goes into the Death Realm with Win, and I think he doesn't even get the kill on him, right?
No, he doesn't.
Does he?
There's too much healing.
Oh, there's so much healing, yeah.
So close, but he gets away.
He gets so close twice. He gets so close twice,
and
but
then
Win
Froggy,
healed
what
up.
is that call?
That's a Froggy if I've ever seen one.
And we come back to the live, and Vit's got another one. So once again, the tale of SGB has been told. Froggy got a little bit foggy, and the game instantly ended. Oh no, it's a disaster. Look at OPG.
It is.
This is a disaster.
Absolutely.
3K
I mean,
at 9 minutes.
Three. Indeed, I just wanted to say that as well.
Sorry.
And Herald on top of that, so they will be able to break the turret in top lane as well. Already swapped the bot lane, so even nice macro aspects shown here. This is something we have pointed out with OPG all the time. They don't really lose their games in macro decisions too often. It's more when they get too antsy, when they want to contest objectives, they have no business contesting. Let's see what happened to 𝗁𝗲𝗏 here. Another good roam for Xin, showing his first Alistar game. And he's not a traditional support player, so he doesn't really have the practice on this champion. So put in the hours this season, most likely. Yeah, no time for that.
Okay,
𝗁𝗏𝗏 probably dead. Oh, good shot.
Okay, I look away for one moment, but should know I can't do that in an OPG versus SGB game. What am I doing? Drinking coffee? No, every day. You're not allowed. That is another kill, but it is a big shutdown, as you said. So I wouldn't say worth, because first tower.
Nah.
Things continue to get worse, but at least it's still only 4K. It hasn't grown.
Only 4K at 10 minutes, yeah. Oof. Well, you have to say only 4K at 10 minutes. The game has definitely gone wrong somewhere. So, yesterday OPG won the first game as well, and they look quite good in that. So they have to keep going. They have to finally get their win. And they won the first series against Saigon Buffalo. This is the only matchup OPG was able to win in round 1. So the very first match they played, we were super surprised to see OPG and Percent win on the very first day of games. And since then, OPG has struggled to really keep up with all the other teams. So today is their opportunity to not only win another series, but also go 2-0 in head-to-head. And that would go a long way to prevent them from getting 8th. Because, yeah, of course, if you lose 0-2 in head-to-head, you have to overcome a better series score. And SGB is right now very far away from getting any serious victory.
Yeah, you can say that again, as there is a lot of struggle happening right now. How does SGB get back into this one? Can they steady the ship through the mid-game and try and
No, they have to flip.
Okay, they just have to go for the flip. Well, Yulwei, thankfully, I think all it really says in their coach's notebook is, when you're losing the game of Monopoly, flip the table. And man, they've been trying that strategy really hard. Unfortunately, so far, they've been finding out that you don't actually win when you do that. People just kind of don't like you anymore. But maybe it'll work this time. Maybe.
I mean, try again, right? And there's the flip.
As Vit has been caught out, they flip the table and they catch it by the leg. As Xin is now the next target, will get dragged back by 𝗁𝗲𝗏𝗏, but he's a tanky Alistar, and they'll just take the dragon. Oh my god, this is
It's very
this
nice
is
proactive play.
exactly what we thought we'd get out of this series, and I'm still surprised.
Well, we have to praise Saigon Buffalo. Very good proactive play around Vision, also all grouped up for the Dragon. So they are now trying to go for the Dragon Snowball, and luckily are rewarded with a decent soul.
Yep.
They get Infernal Soul, so more damage, which is desperately needed in their composition. Is severely lacking damage.
Ooh,
Froggy now,
PHT
he's hard
going in
to
on Froggy.
he's
Yeah, Vin was coming in from the backside as now 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗧 going forward. I don't think you really want that, Melly. He takes a lot of damage and loses his flash for nothing. Okay.
𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗧 strikes
Yeah,
again.
𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗧. He is the epitome of that Lee Sin Q land. My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. And he always listens to his body.
Very nice.
No, it's not nice.
Yeah,
at
he
all.
does. He does.
I'm sorry for everyone that had to hear that. But my singing's about as good as his gameplay.
So yeah, an apt depiction of what we see.
Oh boy, he lost his flash for nothing there. That was
Yeah, that was a little bit unneeded.
ridiculous.
They are still almost more than 4K down, even almost 5K now at the 13 minutes.
Yeah.
So yesterday in NA, I'm not sure who of our viewers has watched that game. FlyQuest almost threw a 7K gold lead at 13 minutes against TSM. So it is possible. To be fair, TSM had a much superior draft in late game, so that's not really the case here. But a man can dream. Okay.
To be fair, I do think both teams playing here today are better than TSM.
I don't think so.
Just NA in the chat. G'day, boys. Nah, of course, I'm joking.
Probably both junglers, honestly. But
I am teasing, of course. Yeah, it's possible. We've seen bigger throws this split in the VCS. We've seen 𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗏 lose from 10,000 gold up, and it wasn't even a draft difference. It was
like
just
Buffalo
a flip
yesterday.
around. Yeah, yeah, it's true as well. There's been flips, and something I've got to point out. Froggy's on Pantheon. Pantheon's a great early game champion. Why is he down 50 CS at 14 minutes?
Because he's Froggy.
It's 50 CS!
at 14 minutes.
It's 50 CS! How does he do this? I figured it out. No, I've got it. You know how Levi often just has ridiculous CS numbers and we're like, we don't even know where these camps are spawning? Like, that's mathematical.
I know where this is going.
Get it. He's taking them from Froggy's games. He's reaching through a dimensional time portal and saying, my CS. That's how he does it. He's cheating, and it's all because of Froggy.
That's the only explanation. To be honest, PhD CS are quite impressive right now. For this action-packed game, yeah. He is still 10 CS a minute. So, yeah, very, very high CS number for PhD. But the CS number for Froggy looks more like a gold game than an actual VCS game. A little bit sad to see. He has still not overcome his last-hitting problems. Maybe he should role swap to jungle or something, or support. I'm not sure. He's not a bad player. His map sense is very good. His laning phase is such a big problem for his team, especially then when you have losing lane and bot lane every single game as well. So you have to rely on 𝗲𝗲𝗏, and while you rely on 𝗲𝗲𝗏, you pick him 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Into Renekton.
Well,
like it is a bit of a baffling one. We are always a bit baffled by the Saigon Buffalo.
He is even in gold.
Yeah.
He's the only one even in gold, though. Everyone else, look at those gold leads.
Oh yeah, that's brutality. That's horrible. Yulwei, do you remember Pulse Fire Cup? Do you remember those heady times of the Buffalo looking like a good team? Oh, they might be third best.
So weird.
They might come third.
What happened?
And then,
I mean, maybe all the other VCS teams were just shit at that tournament. I mean, probably it has to be that.
I mean, I think Style
they dominated that tournament.
I think Style genuinely showed better play. He carried games.
Yeah, of course he did.
I don't understand.
It was an online tournament, though, right? So maybe it's really just stage jitters. Maybe it's because the team also seemed to coalesce really well as a 5-man unit. They challenged GAM in the finals. They went 3-0 in the group stages too. So they looked super strong. I was hyped for them. I called them the best team in the tournament after semifinals.
Yeah, after the semifinal, I think GAM showed that they were better in the end, and they definitely played that tournament.
They outmuscled them.
But yeah, like SGB, we were pretty high on them. We kind of were saying, yeah, 𝘁𝗏𝗏's got this really bad early game and his lane phase is bad in lane, but he can almost like 𝗀𝗏𝗏 but not quite as good, where he goes to his 2 strong lanes and snowballs them. But now there's not 2 strong lanes. There's 1, and then they pick him tanks. Cool. Where's 𝘁𝗏𝗏 meant to go? No, he just loses mid. If we zoom back in on the game instead of reminiscing, we do have a Rift Herald summoned up here in the bot side. It is the 3rd Drake. Someone's got to answer that Herald at some point, though, as the Dragon is going down to 3,000 health. In they go. Vin's popped the ult, but they found a pick on the side. DK's been absolutely blown up. Now they need to win this fight, or the Dragon will go to the Buffalo. Into the Death Realm goes 𝘁𝗲𝗏 and Vit. He's hunting him down on the 𝗁𝗏𝗄𝗃ℬ𝗁. Should be able to get on top of him. He needs one more auto. I'm just watching Vit, but the rest of the fight is exploding as the Buffalo are coming back from the gold deficit, and they get the ace and the 3rd Drake.
Not only an ace, that's a 5-0 ace from 5k gold down at 17 minutes. How? That is impossible. At this point, disadvantages in terms of compositions don't matter. If you have 5k gold ahead at 17 minutes, you can pick 5 supports and win team fights just from base damages. What happened here? So DK's quad immediately dies to the CC lock, very nicely done. And then a super crucial ultimate from Hin, of course, on the Braum. Actually delays the fight, and no one can really follow up. Vit also, all the damage denied by 𝘁𝗏𝗏, putting Vit into the Death Realm, and he wins the 1v1. Very impressive. Oh. So, I'm not sure what PHT did in this fight. I did not have the time to look at him. I think he kind of just kited around the outskirts of the fight and didn't contribute as much damage. So they lose 0-5. And now look at this. Saigon Buffalo back in the game. Only 1k gold down, 3 dragons.
Did we ever
And there's a lot of standing gold as well. If they win another fight, they can...
Why did we down?
I said they had to flip.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think OPG would give them this easy a flip.
Well, I mean, it looks like they didn't flip the table. They did a sick backflip, and it actually looked pretty cool. As that was surprisingly clean out of the Buffalo. I think the Death Realm was almost the most important thing there, because most of that lead was on Vit. I mean, a lot of it was on PHT as well. He had the big gold lead because of farm. But a lot of the power was on the 𝘁𝗏𝗏, and she can't hit people. Well, she can only hit 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏. Like, cool. And 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 wins that 1v1 at this stage of the game. So...
Yeah, and we talked about a 5k gold lead, right? And they killed 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 at the start of the fight, and she wasn't able to contribute anything to the fight. So if you kill 7k gold of the enemy team in 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏, I guess you win the fight, right? Because then you're actually ahead by 1k gold, which is actually ridiculous if you think about the 4v5. They were only ahead by 1k gold, considering it was a 4v5. Yeah. So, still a very, very, very dangerous situation. But Saigon Buffalo made it work. 5-0 ace is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time from down this much. But I want to praise the bot lane for their decisiveness and CC follow-up. I think there was... and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 as well. They just immediately turned on DK. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 W into style ultimate, into Hin ultimate, and locked him down. He had no chance to escape. Very impressive stuff. And now, I would argue they are actually in the driving seat to win this game. Only 1 dragon away from Seoul.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
That should...
is the Drakes. Yeah, that actually...
Even though there's still some damage concerns for their composition, with the Dragon Soul, with the Infernal Soul, that's enough damage. That makes you overcome your damage concerns for sure.
Yeah, and now we have Style, who's caught up in itemization to Vit. Of course, 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏 still does more damage at this stage of the game. That's just a champion thing. But at least he's keeping up in itemization. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is still fairly far behind, but it's still Pantheon, still provides point-and-click CC, blocking. Poke with the shield can still be a big bit of utility, as well as a backline threat. And 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏 is now ahead in the top lane. He's up 1 kill and 40 farm now. That's all flipped. Everything has flipped because of this dragon fight. And I think we may well see the game decided in a minute and a half. If Saigon Buffalo gets this Drake Soul, I think they win. Which is insane after this early game.
And what is really crucial here is how the players feel in game. Because for OPG, after losing that devastating fight, it doesn't feel like they are ahead anymore. You don't see the gold of your team in game, right? You can't actually see how the gold totals are shaping out. Of course, you can look at the items and kind of, and the CS numbers and turrets, and kind of calculate where you're at, but it doesn't feel like that. It's the gold in the end is only a stat. It's not what it actually shows in game. Yeah. And OPG lost that fight 0-for-5 after an incredible early game, so now they have to be very hesitant about the next fight, because another loss at this dragon, as you just pointed out, and the game is over. You just straight up lose the game with Soul. The composition is not that much better that you can still fight back against the Dragon Soul. So it's only 40 seconds away, everyone resetting, everyone getting ready, and OPG actually in a better position when it comes to vision. If you can have a look at the mini-map right now, there's a lot of war in the enemy jungle.
OPG, OPG does tend to be good.
There's only one sweeper on 𝗂𝗄𝗏𝗄.
Yeah, wow, they have not switched their trinkets over yet. That is interesting, as they are rocking the yellow trinkets still. They've got some control wards and that. They need to move into this river very soon. 10 seconds on the dragon. The fight is brewing.
Asmid has TP. He doesn't want to use it though. He's slowly getting there.
Yeah, he'll be able to walk there.
So we see a little bit of vision. Hey, they have so few control wards. They were not able to sweep that vision either. So full control for OPG when it comes to seeing the enemy team. The dragon started. This is quite risky for 𝗂𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏.
It is.
They want to secure this one.
PHT whips in a shock blast from the side. Doesn't really do that much damage though. There's a very good 𝗬𝗄𝗃𝗃. Vin is in the death realm. He's gone down instantly, and it looks like the Buffalo are charging. The Ash Arrow doesn't find much, but 𝗁𝗲𝗏 has got two. The Drake going low. Vit desperately trying to get spears in it. It is actually stolen away, and so they at least delay the soul, but they will trade it for 4 of their own.
And Baron, most likely. 𝗂𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏 is still super healthy. They have the jungler. He will have smite soon, so no real contest from the enemy team. Jungler is, of course, dead on the other side, so this should be a very easy Baron. So they don't get the soul. The game doesn't quite end. I think Baron doesn't actually do super much for them here. Their siege is not great. But it's still a big objective and another fight victory. It seems like OPG has no idea how to fight this team. They struggle to deal with 𝗁𝗲𝗏, and I think there's a little bit of disrespect coming to the 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 ultimate. No one has built 𝗬𝗏𝗏 yet, and 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 has really turned these fights around. So
let's have a look.
Let's see what actually happened. So very good engage again from Xin, but I think he has to change his playstyle here as an Alistar. He needs to peel more. I think he's too focused on engaging, which doesn't actually favor his team, because they have very big problems following up on his engages. 2 short-range AD champions in mid and bot lane can't really do anything with this engage, so I think he has to headbutt people away, people like 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏, try to keep them out of the fight and give PHT and Vit enough time to actually stack up auto attacks to get to the point where they can win the fights. So even though it looked cool from Zin's perspective and would have been a good solo play,
there is a bit of a catch. It was an arrow and a kick. 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has to find a way out. They don't want to 1-for-1 this. There is a death realm, double kill for style, and it keeps on snowballing. DK still in the death realm. He'll pop out any moment as 𝗁𝗲𝗏𝗏 claims his soul. And oh boy, it was a 4K gold lead at 9 minutes for OPG, and look where we are now.
It's a 4K gold lead now for 𝗂𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. That is one of the biggest throws I've ever seen after this early game. That is absolutely ridiculous. EWAS through 10K, but they went up 5K at 10 minutes. They got to 10K incrementally, not like in a big team fight early on. This is absolutely ridiculous. And Vit, what were you doing there? You have no flash. There's only a turret. You know that they have Baron. You know they just reset. You know they have so many pick tools. Why were you just standing there? Only cleanse available. No QSS now, but QSS doesn't help you if you don't have flash. Can QSS the knock-up, but if you can't flash it, it doesn't do much to you. Right. So, wow. Just another big misplay, and 𝗂𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 break the first inhibitor of the game. An absolutely insane statement to make 10 minutes ago.
I know. This is a strange one for sure. Yulwei, I'm a little bit panicked. I changed my prediction right before we jumped back in after our tech pause, didn't I? Hello, 𝗕𝗂𝗻𝗆. He's been found, but he's just going to go straight in. They're trying to get onto 𝗕𝗃. He's already used his QSS, and he's not going to get out alive. As once again, OPG perhaps bite off way more than they can chew. A lot of zoning there on the side. Xin not being able to get in to try and get the headbutt, and it's Vin in the Death Realm, and it will live up to its name as 𝘁𝗏𝗏 gets him on the way out. This definitely could be it. In fact, I think it will be. 20 seconds, 25 seconds on 𝗕𝗃 even. Inhib's already down.
Yeah, they have Inhib and they even have a super minion to tank turret forever. They could even opt to tank it with Hin or 𝘁𝗏𝗏. No one can really do anything to them. PhD is only tickling them with his damage.
He's calling the skies down. The Starfall comes in. 𝗕𝗂𝗻𝗆 goes down. Oh, sorry, he gets the kill. What am I saying? DK goes down. Completely getting my junglers mixed up. And just like I threw that play-by-play casting, OPG threw the early game lead, and they pick up, SGB pick up the win in a big, big flip. And Yulwei, 𝘂𝗏𝗆𝗆 won that game. It won.
Look at the scoreboard. Look at this scoreboard. 7-19 in kills. It looks like 𝘂𝗏𝗆𝗆 just dominated this game if you just look at the stats. 27-minute victory, 19-7 in kills, big gold lead. They had the Baron, they had all the dragons. You look at all the stats and you're like, yeah, what are you talking about? It's an easy win for 𝘂𝗏𝗆𝗆.
Yep.
But that's not the case. Go back in this game 10 minutes in, 5k gold lead for OPG. And they managed to throw that. Oh my god, OPG, this has to hurt so much.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to recover from that one, but we will see you in just a few minutes. We will go to a break, and then we'll have our lovely analysts and that lovely host every day back on screen. We'll see you guys then. Don't go anywhere. We hope you are enjoying the action so far.
Those cravens backstab me, deceive me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again.
Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of 𝘁𝗱𝗆𝗆 versus OPG here at the Baseball World Series. OPG have, of course, just thrown a perfect game. Very impressive out of them. Joking, of course. My name is Everyday. With me is Vinnie and our special guest tonight, 𝗏𝗏𝗏. It was an interesting Game 1, for sure. But did you guys come to a consensus on an MVP? 𝗏𝗏, who did you pick?
I think we did. I think we came to the idea that 𝗲𝗲 certainly made his name on the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗃 pick. It absolutely destroyed the team-fights, being able to take a bit out of most of those. And the rest of the fight was just completely won from that point. In fact, I think Vinnie had some really good points if he wants to elaborate more on 𝗲𝗲𝗃.
Yep, go ahead, man.
Yeah, 𝗲𝗲𝗃's early. I mean, 𝗲𝗲𝗃 got bunched around early, but when he came into the team fights, his target selection with his ultimate was perfect. He pretty much always shut down Vit in the early fights, and then after the team was back in the lead and Vit really wasn't doing that much, he just removed the Renekton, and without that big, beefy, without the Crocodile being able to jump on the actual carries of Buffalo, then yeah, it was just a pretty much free rollover from them.
Yep. I don't know how much real analysis can be done from that game, if we're totally honest. It was a flip, right? That is the analytical term I think we have to provide for that one. To be very fair to Buffalo, they saw their opportunity. They saw that dragon fight where they could win the game, and they did. That was their big opportunity. Yeah. But 𝗏𝗏𝗏, what are you looking for in Game 2? Because you were talking about OPG before the game. How can they win Game 2? How can they make sure that doesn't happen again as we head into draft? But do continue to make the point.
Yeah, I think during that early game, they actually had a lot of the things that I wanted to see from them. They were forcing fights. They were able to make good engagements. They had that really good early play that got them the massive gold lead. The problem was once they got to the team fight setup, they weren't taking the steps necessary to set up their lanes, to set up the map state, so that there wasn't competition. If you're sitting up, 4, 6, 10,000 gold, however early in the game that it was that they had that massive lead, you win, or at least should win in theory, most fights. Like, there's no reason you should be walking blind into a river, having your jungler, killed off on the side of the fight before anything even said. Like, there's no reason for any of it. We need to see a little bit more precaution instead of just throwing all caution to the wind in team fights, just trying to throw your gold around.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. And if we look over at the other side, because of course it is just the bands rolling in at the moment, Vinnie, how do the Buffalo lock this one up and perhaps have a more reasonable win?
I think just get a stronger pick for Froggy. Get something like give him a Galio. Give him his Neeko. I really want to see his Neeko again. I keep bringing it up. It looks great, but they keep shying away from it. And it looks like they're going to go for the Garm special they tried against EVOS. Nope, they're just going to go for the Pantheon again, which is fair. It's a nice flex potential. It's a decent pick for them. They've shown good out there. So I lost train of thought there. I'm not going to lie.
I think actually,
right.
so surprisingly.
You're good. No, go ahead. Sorry, I was just going to apologize. I was going to come in and save you, but I had a mouthful of coffee. But go ahead, 𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Don't worry. Yeah, I think even last game, like Froggy's early game wasn't spectacular, and I actually really thought that Tiamat, especially for solo lane, like especially mid lane Pantheon, is really necessary to keep your wave pushed out so you can be anywhere on the map and try to match what the Jace can do. But later game in the fights, it actually worked as almost like a secondary Braum shield, where he could stand in front of a lot of people, throw your E up, and then soak a fair amount of the damage, which happened a couple of times. And that was a big reason why, is their directional defense on the side of the Buffaloes in Game 1 was so ridiculous that there was no breaking through from OPG. And I do, like you said, we had the flexibility, of course, of the Pantheon being able to come between, and Vinnie made a very fantastic point on that regard, that you can take it support, you can take it top if you really want, even, mid lane, of course, it went to Froggy in that last game.
Sure thing, but let's sort of zoom it on forward. Of course, we do have the picks coming in thick and fast. 𝘁𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆 have secured Pantheon, 𝗕𝘂𝗍𝗍, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. And over on the other side for OPG, it is Ashe, 𝘚resh, if that's locked in, and Graves, Yulwei's favourite champion, the big boy with the shotgun. Love you, mate. He's not here. He can't tell me off. But 𝗏𝗏𝗏, why don't you give me your opinion so far of this OPG comp, because it's very different. Do you like what you're seeing so far?
I mean, your bottom lane certainly has a much better advantage. I think against 𝗀𝗲𝗃, Ashe is got to be one of, if not the absolute, like, god tier pick against it. Because 𝗀𝗲𝗃, early on, when you get shut down with your mobility and your attack speed from just the slows from auto attacks from Ashe, there's very little that you can do. It's almost like the 𝗀𝗲𝗃 has to play completely opposed to the Ashe anywhere else on the map, and it's very difficult to do when you're stuck in the laning phase. I would love to see the Pantheon get flexed in this case to bottom lane. I think the protection you can bring with it and the aggression against Ashe is something that 𝗷𝗏𝗀𝗧 could definitely like capitalize on, but they certainly weren't capable of, or they didn't at least last game go to it.
Mm-hmm. Sure thing. And Vinny, what do you think so far of the first 3 picks of the Buffalo? It's I mean, the Pantheon's the same, but obviously they've changed a few things.
Well, 𝗷𝗏𝗀𝗧 has been pretty impressive on the Italy this split rather, and I mean, of course, they had already looked at the Graves, so it's not like it was a takeaway in the truest sense, but yeah, I mean, so I guess it's just a nice, comfortable pick for him that doesn't really that can flex into whatever comp they wish to go for. The 𝗀𝗲𝗃 pick, I think, yeah, you're looking at style sort of trying to be in the meta as well. I'll get to that later.
We'll let you talk about that, but finish your point, and then I'll let you rant about the set. It's gonna be set jungle, though.
I think that's set mid, honestly.
Okay, you gotta push that on. Oh, of course it's set mid. Of course, there's a Graves. There's a Graves.
It's a set laner.
Well,
I think mid is better than top at the moment.
Yeah, and he's against a Pantheon. I actually think that's a good read. What do you think of the pick, though? Rebel, I'll throw to you first. But don't worry, Vinny, I will let you pick your brain about that one. Set mid, what do you think? PHT.
Yeah, I do think it's a little flexible between top and mid lane because it's capable of going both places. And into the Pantheon, I don't think it's a bad matchup. So I think it just follows Pantheon wherever you want to throw that on the side of Saigon is OPG. They match with it. And now they get counterpick potentially because now, of course, you've seen Pantheon. You don't know where it's going. You match it with Set. And now Set goes to either Vin or PHT depending on where that Pantheon goes. And now you get to counterpick the Jace as well. And ideally, a flexible laner, one that can go top or mid would be good here. And 𝗁𝗏𝗃 kind of fits that bill perfectly.
Yeah, and of course, that is a big 𝗁𝗲𝗃 champion. I don't know, Rebel, if you've caught up on some of the 𝗁𝗲𝗃 𝗁𝗏𝗃 picks. It's obviously on the wrong side of the table this time, but 𝗁𝗲𝗃 has a lot of familiarity with the champion. And, boys, I think both teams might fit into one certain play style. It's a bit of a brawl. You agree?
Yeah. It's, especially with set mid, he just wants to rush that Sunfire Cape and just be everywhere except the mid lane, honestly.
Which suits Froggy, right?
Suits Froggy, but it's PHT playing it, right?
Well, I know, but maybe he won't fall horribly behind in CS because his other laner won't be there.
That is true. Both comps are very similar to each other. It's actually very interesting to see, but I think, yeah, you're looking at that bot lane, and I'm glad Xin is on a playmaker this time around. I mean, the Alistar can make plays, but it's very... Alistar is best played as a bouncer rather than an engage tool, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
So, I'm glad to see him on the Thresh. It's nice, it's flexible, it's basic, it works very similar to how Bard does, and it's good protection, it's good offensive, it's what you want from Xin. Good roaming playmaker.
Yeah, that's something Rebel was talking about. We really want to see Xin roaming around to make the plays. Now, we will be heading into game very shortly, so Rebel, I'll let you close us out with a bit of analysis. Pick a team that you want to talk about. What do you think of a comp? Just go off the top of your head, mate.
I actually really do like Saigon Buffalo's composition in this one. They've got a lot of forward pressure with something like 𝗀𝗃𝗃, Leona, Pantheon, things of that sort. And then they fixed what would have been the composition from OPG last game by having not only like the damage behind them in the Jason and Italy, but of course with all that upfront damage, all the bursts that you can bring in with the likes of Leona, Pantheon, and of course the 𝗀𝗃𝗃, you're able to make a lot of things work in you have a lot more threat, I think, against targets in this particular case, especially since there's no protection like Braum.
Sure thing. And both of you, and Vinny, you're terrible with this, so I'm going to go to you first. You get to say 3 letters, mate. What are they? Who's going to win?
I think we go Buffalo.
All right, Buffalo. Didn't go letters, but fair enough. And Rebel, what do you think? Is Buffalo going to close this one out, or are we going to 3?
I'll call kudos on that. I think Buffalo takes this 2-0.
Fair enough. And we will find out. I'm going to throw over to our casting team, Yulwei, and I'm not sure who's doing play-by-play, but we'll find out. Head over there. Well, thank you, Everyday. It's actually going to be Everyday on the play-by-play here. Of course, Everyday, our fantastic host. I'm very glad he's here to fill in. But of course, it will be me, Everyday, also on the play-by-play. Welcome, Yulwei. Here we go. We've got an interesting team comp. What do you think?
What do you mean also? What? I thought I had a different Everyday. I got scammed. No.
It's almost like I'm here every day. But we do have an interesting set of team comps here. I think, would you call these your Saitama comps? That was this what you would describe as a one-punch comp? Do you want to explain what you mean?
SGB a little bit more so than OPG. OPG can actually do some more stuff. They have definitely watched some LCK here with set mid lane, the 𝗀𝗃𝗃 special. But I think the point of set mid lane into Pantheon stands, even though the trades early don't look like he's actually winning this lane. It's probably going to turn around though. So I want to talk firstly about the fact that 𝗀𝗄 has once again corrupted the VCS and everyone is playing Jayce now. Yay. Jayce literally every game, I guess. We're here again. 𝘁cie𝗱𝗆𝗆 is really the one-punch comp here. They have so much engaged. They have a lot of follow-up poke, and then even the poke champs in Nidalee and Jayce are champs that like to jump in after landing their poke. Of course, Nidalee inherently swaps over to a Cougar form and then jumps in. Jayce swaps over to his melee form and jumps in as well. So everyone just wants to get in there. And this time around, the enemy team doesn't have the defensive capabilities to really deal with that. Last game, Rebel just pointed that out. The E abilities from both Pantheon and Braum, of course, caused a lot of problems for OPG in the last game. They blocked all the poke and the team fights. Not really there here for OPG to defend against 𝘁cie𝗱𝗆𝗆's poke. So this should be an easier to execute poke into one punch style of composition. I'm a little bit worried about style 𝗁𝗏𝗏 though.
I'm a little bit worried about that, but just to comment, I mean, you're right. They don't have the poke-resistant tools of the Braum and the Pantheon. That's very true. But I actually do think they've got decent counter-engage. Not disengage, counter-engage. With a set ult and a Ashe Arrow. But we might have to come back to it as 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 has come to the mid lane. PHT, he's on the run. And he's a quick boy with that Nimbus Cloak.
Not only Nimbus Cloak, but also Face Rush. So he's really zooming around.
And heal.
Face Rush, of course, is very popular right now. He was really just running away. Didn't have to flash, which of course is nice. He probably covered more ground than he would have with flash, to be honest. So very safe laner right now, still with a flash available. But it doesn't really seem like a good counter pick. And we have another attempt. Now he has to
that
flash.
We do, as they were sitting on a ward, and PHT was just a little bit cocky, but his jungler was close enough. As Hin gets away. Hin burnt his flash there.
Yeah, a little bit over-aggressive. I don't think you ever get the kill here. And the flash was forced anyway, I believe.
Yeah,
so,
flash.
Maybe not the greatest call. I want to actually talk about this top lane matchup, because this confused me a lot. 𝗁𝗏𝗆 into Jayce is a choice I haven't seen been made in a lot of leagues. It's a very bad matchup for 𝗁𝗏𝗆. The Jayce...
Oh, hang on. 𝘁𝗏𝗆 might look for a solo kill. No, not quite. But don't you look clever right now?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, observers. Very, very good synergy here. But yeah, this matchup is really not great for 𝗁𝗏𝗆. She gets bullied by the ranged form. She even gets bullied by the melee form, because 𝗁𝗏𝗆, of course, has the W when the 𝗁𝗏𝗆 jumps into Shroud. You have a lot of AoE damage on that one too. And whenever you show 𝗁𝗏𝗆 has a lot of burst damage to deal with you, you can opt into multiple itemization paths for 𝗁𝗏𝗆 too. We see he's going into the Hex Drinker right now, so to not be burst down by Vin. And then you also have to factor in player strength. 𝗁𝗏𝗆, one of the best laners in the VCS, against Vin, who has been the worst top laner in terms of laning phase. So it's a very puzzling choice for me. And OPG, I'm not sure what the 𝗁𝗆𝗆 is, what they think the 𝗁𝗆𝗆 is going to do. I mean, if you get out of laning phase, maybe you can turn this into a 1-3-1 composition. but it's not going to be easy. So that last pick was a little bit strange to me.
I think my assumption is that their logic was kind of using 𝗂𝗃𝗍 like some teams used to when she was super broken, is you actually pick her for a reasonably bad top laner because she was so safe. She would never ever die.
That's true. That is a very good point.
I think maybe that's what it is, but I think this matchup is actually so bad that she can die. So maybe it wasn't the best decision ever. Perhaps could have gone to a different top laner, but we'll have to see how Vin goes. Of course, once he gets up to that revolver, that gunblade, he's not going to die in that lane. He's just too slippery. That was always an interesting way to play 𝗂𝗃𝗍 because you always think of her as this mechanical, put her on a great top laner, hype beast thing. We might come back to it as there is a bit of a fight brewing. Here comes Froggy's ult. They're going to contest this crab as Froggy does not want to let his river brethren die, but it's coming in thick and fast here. PHT takes a lot of damage. Of course, Xin has already died and they're chasing deep into the jungle here. DK's the target and he'll go down. Froggy gets the kill. And I think
Vin is here though. They want to continue the fight.
We are not done. Vit is under this tower. They're going to turn around on the two-man reinforce. Vit is under the tower. We'll come back to him. Don't you worry. PHT goes down. So does Vit. And it looks like last game all over again. But this time, it's the Buffalo off to the start. Vin flashes the wall. But he'll be the one man left standing.
Is there a hidden buff for blue side this series? Where the enemy team just ins into you at 7-8 minutes? So you get a 4-0 start. Happened last game as well. Now SGB off to a great start, and they were able to come back from 5k gold deficit. So I'm kind of scared for OPG to Vin. Win still to go.
This is a little bit scary here. And what has he just done? There's a lantern for him to get to. Can they get the last bit of damage, or will 𝗁𝗲𝗄 go down? It'll be both, as it's a 1-for-1, but a questionable decision.
Okay, Vin saw the opportunity there to go for more. In the end, he still goes down. He actually gives up a kill to his enemy top laner, so probably not what he wanted to accomplish there. Bot lane has been kind of abandoned for the last few minutes because everyone was just clashing in bot lane. So now a good swap from Buffalo to immediately establish top side pressure, because of course you can then also turn that into Herald. They already secured the dragon, so I really like this small little map movement. And with OPG just hitting the bot lane turret, they should have enough time to just secure Herald and really snowball this game out of control.
Hin does give Vin the shield bonk, but he tries to clear the minion wave out. Two plates, I should say, already claimed here by Hin to the one in the bot lane for Vit. So as you said, SGB at the moment with a dominant map position looking to balloon this gold lead out. I'm sure they'll start the Herald up soon, but Set is on the move, and ooh, hello. The boys are in the bot lane.
Not on ult yet. He's moving there anyway, but we have to fight in top lane instead.
It never stops here, Yulwei. The Fate's call will get Hin out of trouble, but let's have a look down at the bot lane as 𝗁𝗲𝗄 is going to go down. Let's go straight back to the top lane. It never stops. PHT has used the suplex. He gets the guns out, and he smacks them together. Hin is going to be the target. Vin should be able to find him momentarily, but no. 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 arrived. The cat jumps in and puts him in the litter box.
And they still have the Herald here, of course, secured by 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the meantime. So that will be first turret, gold over to 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Style, two very, very valuable targets. So Saigon Buffalo, in the end, still able to accelerate the game a little bit more. Kind of a foolish death there for 𝗁𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 on the bot lane. He should have been able to spot this movement, and Froggy didn't really have his ultimate to join immediately. No teleport either, so maybe you can fault 𝗁𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 a little bit there for that death. He shouldn't have given that one up.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's still a positive trade for Saigon Buffalo, and the 𝗂𝗃𝗍𝗆 is really far behind. She might even lose to 𝘁𝗍𝗍 right now. I would definitely put my money on 𝘁𝗍𝗍.
Yeah.
So she can't even go for a snipe on the 𝘁𝗍𝗍 in the backline at mid-game team fights. She really has to get more time to scale, get her items ready. She had to take a detour in itemization too, and now had to go for Zhonya. So not even.
That is the sign of a very, very sad 𝗂𝗃𝗍𝗏 when their first item isn't a revolver. That is depressing. She does not have those guns loaded. Has to go for the.
To be fair, there's a lot of value in the armor, of course. If you look at the team composition for Saigon Buffalo, a lot of AD damage. We even have shoulder guards Leona to bring in the 3 extra AD. Thank you for that one. Best item on Leona for sure. I hate it so much.
How long have we been having this discourse? Like a year? Like at least 6 months since the support item changes?
Yeah.
But it is a little bit more important than 3 AD is this Ocean Drake. That is down to 1500 health. Do SGB get in? Of course they do. 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝗃 hops his way in, steals the dragon style, trades his life for it. There's the superplex onto 𝘀𝗏𝗏. Can OPG turn it around, get some kills? They will get 1. Can they get 2? I think they can. Yes, they do. They're looking for 3 and 4 here. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 and 𝗁𝗲𝗏 have to find a way out. 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝗃 will escort 𝗁𝗁𝗏 out. Do they want to re-engage? I don't think so. There's a shutdown. It's not the 5-0 ace. But it is a 1 fight for OPG.
It is a 1 fight at Dragon Pit from behind. What is going on today? Maybe we're just replaying the last game, because now it certainly looks like OPG has a chance to get back into the game. Sadly for them, another dragon secured for Saigon Buffalo, so the win condition with 4 dragons is still there. Good steal for 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝗃. And style, I mean, come on, mate. Come on. You have to dodge that. Also, keep your eyes on Vin, really messing up his 𝗊𝗃𝗃𝗃 combo. Oh my god. The second time in a row, he didn't miss the second part of his ultimate. Vin, you need to step up. Your team wants to have any chance of winning this game. Yeah. Of course, a little bit disjointed from Saigon Buffalo overall. They have all their poke is not really in position to get the enemy health bars low. And we have to also say, at the start of the fight, Saigon Buffalo just in a bad position to contest. This is really annoying as a VCS follower, because this has happened to so many teams now.
True.
People just need to learn to play around
Buffalo are
timers.
righting the ship, though, as Hin has found a way in. There's a solar flare. The hook does land. They're turning it around. Xin very low, but Vit gets the kill there. It doesn't matter. They're going to try and get Style and Hin, but they are well and truly away. A little bit over-aggressive, methinks. Oh,
another kill, and now
we have another round. It's a Graves dive, Yulwei, your favourite thing in the world. He gets pulled forward. The guns were used. PHT's looking for it. He should still have access to the haymaker. There it is, and 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗄𝗏 gets the shotgun shell in and digs his graves.
Oh, hide behind the turret, guys, please. It's Grace. He can't attack you. 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏, come on.
Oh well, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 has gone down, and we continue to be on the train of swings and roundabouts. Of course, we were never going to get a clean win, were we, Yulwei? I don't know why you expected anything less. We've got brawls. We are definitely getting the pay-per-view customers what they want, as 𝗁𝗁𝗏 and PHT are going to have a bit of a scrap. The suplex is used to try and get away. Look how fast this boy is. He's got those legs pumping, and he's gone.
He even got slowed by the J.'s Q and still outran the J.'s there. Ridiculous speed.
Set does not skip
he's so fun. Yeah, Set is so fun to watch when he goes face rush.
Yeah.
This is really the Chovy special now. Mid lane Set full tank, so not even opting into any kind of damage itemization. And of course, the fights aren't stopping. Good dodge from Style.
𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 comes in, Vit flashes away. Xin with a fantastic hook here. That shield buying 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 a lot of time. Vit gets the kill. That was a bit early on the 𝗊𝗃𝗃𝗃 ult, but it doesn't matter.
Another kill to OPG. They are making the picks happen, and it's another swing.
Oh my god, it doesn't end as DK's been caught. The hook comes out. Are they going to go in off it? No.
Good cleanse. Very, very good cleanse from Style.
That was instant.
That was very smooth. Yeah.
Oh.
Good mechanics. We know he has good
Give
mechanics.
Give me a break, guys. I need to have a drink as PHT's now been caught. He should be fast enough, but the face breaker misses, which means he commits his flash.
So this time around, he actually had to flash. He's such an annoying
VCS,
enemy to deal with.
I'm going to ask you for a favor. I need to sneeze. I need 10 seconds. Just give me that, please.
I'll take it. I'll take it over. I'll take over. So 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏, once again, has managed to get into a really big CS deficit for some reason. 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏 never fails to disappoint when it comes to that statistic. He's getting outfarmed by his jungler by 35 CS at 15 minutes.
I don't understand.
By his jungler, nonetheless. Oh man, 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗏.
But Buffalo.
It works in one, to be fair. He's basically a second support on this Pantheon, going for the very valuable Black Cleaver as well, with double ADs, kind of ADCs behind you. Makes a lot of sense.
It does. Means
Buffalo.
no one else has to go it as well. He's shouldering the Black Cleaver attacks. Because Jace wants to go lethality.
Yeah, he really does. kind of surprised 𝗀𝗧ce didn't opt into tier here in this matchup where he can't go for solo kills. I mean, it worked out in his favor because there were a lot of early skirmishes, but I feel like in this matchup he can really go for the late game build with the tier. Very valuable item, of course, makes your lethality items even stronger because you have just pure AD, 80, 90 AD from that one item. So a little bit surprised there, as we have another Dragon Spawn and OPG once again in a better position.
Yep, this is
this might be
becoming a
steal,
theme. 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, of course, has been very good with those smites. DK takes a lot of damage from the accelerated shock blast. There's the suplex to get the jungler out. It is taken there by DK, but he immediately goes down. Who will win the fight? As it's getting very close, but SGB, they take a lot of true damage from the set. Their health bars are very, very low. Looking at Vin to cause some trouble. He gets one. PHT has to now run away. Vit has gone down. He got the kill. Oh god, I always misread the Vietnamese. As it's now a double kill for Vit. Hin is going to go as well. Froggy's trying to ult away and does manage to jump.
It's another 1-5 for OPG. They really open up the game now with the mid turret. This will be a 3k gold lead for OPG. Out of nowhere, they're winning fight after fight. Red side today just has the mid game buff. Let's see if we get to the late game to see which side is supposed to win today in late game. We've seen early game is blue side, mid game is red side. But how did this all transpire?
Very good ult
Very
by
good ult from PHT.
That's
yep.
MVP.
Nicely
right
done. And then this one punch composition, as I like to call it, just isn't really there to punch. I mean, Style also once again gets caught by another good grab from Xin. He has been on point, really just looking for Style in every single team fight. Last time, Style had the cleanse available. This time around, cleanse, of course, still on cooldown, so very easy kill. This is one of the funniest interactions I've seen. He just jumps away.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's always funny if the cooldowns had worked out differently. You tag him with the 𝗂𝗃𝗍, you can actually just follow the jump.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Just go all the way with him. The best is tagging people who are teleporting. Just go all the way across the map. That's super fun.
Or recalling. Oh, that's sad. That's a sad thing for 𝗂𝗃𝗍. Oh, man.
Now, of course, I just want to seize on here because it was pointed out by our analyst desk, and Rebel in particular, bringing up the point of Xin being a very big focal point for OPG. He's actually someone we've always praised on both of the teams he's been on now, VGA and now OPG. We've said these teams are pretty bad, but Xin's impressive, but we might have to come back to it, as we'll have to see if Vin can be as impressive. He's got a blast cone to get away, and that should just about be enough. He's teleporting
out. Yeah,
he's out. He has to.
He's out.
Yep.
Okay, he had to teleport though. So top lane now needs to get a turret or something. I think they secured the first turret in that push, but the second one is probably not available. Look at the gold lead. It has quietly ballooned to almost more than 3k now. OPG in full control. They have a very strong front line right now. Even the Graves kind of operating as a frontliner, especially into all of the short range enemies who like to come into him. So it's a very nice comp for 𝗀𝗧ce. This not 𝗀𝗧ce, Graves. This is actually a good comp for Graves. I criticize Graves a lot when he's early picked on the enemy team.
As Style has been found here. DK's trying to get the damage done, but he gets cleaned up. And
speaking of Graves,
just as you praise Graves, and I was about to say it is very appropriate, of course, that Thresh is making Style's life so hard because pushes glasses up nosed. Of course, in the lore, Thresh makes 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏's life very hard. Yeah.
What did he do to
her? Drove her husband or partner, I don't know if they were actually married, mad on the Shadow Isles. Yeah, pretty harsh. Apparently there was he was doing a ritual to get 𝗪𝗏𝗏 to not be the spirit of vengeance. And he kept doing it and kept failing, and Thresh taunted him every time. And then the one time it was going to work, he fell for Thresh's taunts and gave up. It was going to work that time.
Oh.
Very, very sad.
So that's kind of the main antagonist, right?
Yeah, he's a massive dick.
Probably.
Fun fact, that is Legends of Runeterra that released that lore, because it's Commander Ledros, it's her husband, which is a Legends of Runeterra card. Facts with every day.
Hopefully a champ later on too.
I hate him. He's a really busted card. I don't want to see him ever again.
Fair enough.
Would be cool though. But anyway, back to what people care about. We did just have a little bit of time as it
Zin.
is Zin being caught out. Perhaps he'll be punished for what he's done. And he will as he gets ripped up there. Vit trying to deal some damage back, but Hin goes forward. He's got the Fate's call to get him out. DK throws it in. Hin goes back in. He's got the awareness to get straight onto that Ashe, who goes down to the spear. And OPG are losing this fight hard. They do have Vin coming in. Everyone's on low health bars. Can the 𝗃𝗃𝗍 get the dancing? As he should get one kill momentarily. PHT picks it up. 𝘁𝗲𝗄 dealing some damage. We do have the second half of the 𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗆 ult. There, it's used, and it's not going to be enough. Style hops around, and they win the fight.
So far, every time Style had no cleanse and got caught, the fight was instantly lost by 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗄. But this time it's a little bit different. 𝗁𝗂𝗐 with some with exquisite nidalee play. And this is in perfect timing for 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗄 as well, as the dragon is just going to spawn now. So third Drake over to 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗄. Oh, fourth Drake, of course, but third Drake for them. So they move to Soul Point in 5 minutes. This could be another win condition. PHT is set, so yeah, he has no means of stealing this one. You would think, of course, 𝗂𝗏𝗍𝒂𝗍 is an ability. Has stolen the Baron already.
Oh, no.
But let's look at the fight again.
Let's see how this
So,
happens.
Belly is very, very good movement here. Jumping in and out, executing Zin. Then he jumps out again. He hits another good spear on Vit, and debates going in. I think there is a small moment of miscommunication, because Hin actually jumped in immediately and 𝗁𝗂𝗐 just turned around. So if they communicate that a little bit better, this could be an instant kill on the enemy's ADC as well. Of course, in the long run, it still all works out. 𝗁𝗂𝗐 jumps over the wall again, gets out of threat range from Vin. This looks a little bit dicey for 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏, but Vin decides to go on Style instead and just doesn't have the damage. He misses E as well. Style, good jumping.
We'll also praise Style for some awareness there, as he was super, super low. He was going to get executed by the 𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗆, but he went and hit the minions and actually life-stealed up, and that health absolutely mattered. Of course, maybe if Vin had hit a couple of spells, it would have helped. But, oh well. It was still very good there by Style. We don't get too many opportunities to praise him, so I'll take everyone we can get. As he's now 5-2-3. We said we were worried about this 𝗂𝗏𝗏, but at the moment, it seems to be just fine. As
and on the other end, PHT is super fast.
Tries.
Oh, wow, he got to the wall.
He did. Just about got over the wall. Got away from the gun show from Set, but will they be able to get away from 𝘁𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗄's hammer show? I don't think so, as all the damage has been dealt. He got suplexed, but it doesn't matter so much. Froggy joins the fray. In the backside is Vin, trying to deal all this 𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗆 damage, but he's just in the middle of 5, and dies for nothing, really. Low health bars, I suppose. Froggy
He got a lot of... he got the stopwatch out of Style. He would have executed Style there, honestly, so don't really have to flame in too much for that fight. Vin has had a little bit of an hit or miss 𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗆 game so far. Some of the team fights were nice. He had the double kill in the bot lane team fight. In some team fights, he just straight up missed the second part of the 𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗆 ult. This one was okay, a little bit disjointed with his team, because his team was already on the run. So kind of the sacrificial lamb there. I feel like OPG still has a very good fighting chance. The fights are still very close, and if they protect Vin a little bit better, because this time he was exposed to 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏's flank, they should definitely be able to play front to back a little bit better, especially with PHT.
I agree.
Being such a huge tank here.
And it's also, the thing is, it's like so much of the power of SGB is on Style, and Style's playing well. I'm actually not criticizing Style here, but he is against an Ashe. Ashe just makes 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏's life hard. Slows are so effective against 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏. Limiting her hops, which actually lowers her DPS because it lowers her attack speed. It's really, really harsh for her. So there's a lot of room here to limit Style's impact. And if you limit the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏's impact, SGB is not that powerful.
Yeah, and if you look at the other side of the rift, the enemy ADC is not weak either. He got 6 kills already. Vid is super strong. He has cleanse available. Flash will be up for the next dragon fight. So if you protect Vid, he can actually carry the fights. We don't really see many carry Ashe performances. But once Ashe hits 3-4 items, she actually deals an insane amount of damage. She has... If she gets a lot of crit, she has the best crit scaling in the game. She has one of the strongest attack speed buffs in the game, so she can deal a lot of consistent damage. And with IE coming in next, she's actually going to out-damage Style pretty easily in team fights.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just a lot of this is gonna come down to execution. I think if DK can deal a lot of that AoE damage, he's going full lethality Grave, something we didn't actually mention. Didn't go for the Black Cleaver. He's just gone Ghostblade into Umbral Glaive. DK is here to do what Graves does, which is just way too much damage at times. 𝗲𝗲 stealing away the blue. 45 seconds, just over, on the Drake, which should be our next fight.
This time SGB actually has priority over Dragon, so far at least. Will we see the sneaky Baron trait? We have the Baron is quite fast for OPG. They could have tried to make the judgment. I mean, the judgment would be a bad judgment, but they could go for Baron as a trade against Soul if they don't want to fight. They want to give Vit more time to get to IE, because IE is not finished for this fight. This is actually quite crucial. We have a finished item on style, and we have an engage.
Froggy's charging in. 𝗲𝗲 super low. Vin was going for that 1v1. Pops the hourglass. Does he have the smoke to get away to? I don't think so, as Froggy's looking for the kill there, and the rest of Buffalo have found some lovely kills as well. They're hunting down OPG. This is going to be the Drake for sure. If they can finish these kills off, it may even be Baron. The hook comes out into the flay. Zin pops the gargoyles, and it's not enough. And now they're hunting onto Vit. And he will be the one man left standing. PHT goes, oh god, where'd my team go?
This is definitely Soul. It might be Baron, as you just said, so this could really be the nail in the coffin. But the Soul should already be enough to bring 𝗁𝗏𝗏 Buffalo to the point where the one punch is going to land. This time around was very, very close to actually losing the team fight, because you saw 𝗲𝗲's HP bar there. He almost went down to Vin. Vin now at the point where he can actually outduel 𝗲𝗲 in the side lane. But I hope we move into the replay fast, because I have something to point out there, a very important part. Let's see how OPG responds. Finally, IE is finished. That was a crucial part. Yep. Let's see. Look, keep your eyes on DK here. First, we see how 𝗲𝗲 lost against Vin. It's just 𝗁𝗏 being 𝗁𝗏.
Yep.
Whatever happened there, I don't quite know. But let's look at DK. DK really greets for the ultimate execute on 𝗲𝗲 here and completely loses sight of everyone else. Gets like 2 auto attacks in and dies. This was the most important part of the fight. Of course, Vin dies too, but Vin actually did his job kind of, right? He got 𝗲𝗲 low. 𝗲𝗲 was out of the fight, so basically top lane for top lane was traded, even though 𝗲𝗲 survived. It's still, the impact of the top laners was not there anymore. Both were out of the fight. But DK with a huge blunder, completely done tunnel visioning on that one.
Here we go, we're back in, and Baron has been taken, and we've got a fight afterwards. That is a huge solar flare, followed up by the rest of the Buffalo, and Style is hopping uncontested in the back line. OPG have been overpowered.
Another very good engagement. This is one of OPG's main problems when they try to contest. They contest every time, and even after losing Baron, they will team fight, they will lose. This happened yesterday as well. Just decide on either contesting or trying to scale. Don't do both. Don't contest too late and then lose the team fight anyway. This will be the game. 28 minutes. The timers are way too long. We have Baron buff. So this is 2-0 for Saigon Buffalo out of nowhere.
It is. The Buffalo will blow up this last Nexus Tower. I'm sure they'll go for 1 or 2 kills. No! They are businesslike and they are clinical as they take down OPG. The 7th place team firmly locks himself in 7th and avoids the 8th. Well done by them! And we will now be going back over to our fabulous analytical team to see their opinion on this one. Thank you, Yulwei. We'll see you for our second series, don't you worry. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back, everybody, to our analyst desk. Thank you, Everyday and Vinnie, for the cast. And now we, of course, are back with our analysts, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Vinnie, as well as host Everyday, as I will have to fix up some cameras.
Just by the way.
As I will have to fix up some cameras. What did you guys think about that game? 𝗏𝗏, do you want to get us kicked off? What were your thoughts?
Okay, so before I break down anything really in particular, I want to make a really big kind of statement here. So I'm from NA, and I felt like this was going to be kind of an uncomfortable experience. And I have to give a lot of credit to both teams because they made me feel at home today because these Jaces have been just so god awful. Really, the Jaces today gotta stop before I just end up. Really, the NA Jace was out in full force today. I don't know how 𝗲𝗲 made that champion.
I mean, we call him the VN Jace, so like that gives you an idea.
I mean, we have the VN every champion under the sun.
True. Moving swiftly on. If you want to actually make a more serious comment, or we can throw over MVP. I mean, it's cool. That was a good enough comment. It wasn't. That was our bottom two teams, right?
I mean, I thought, despite being bottom teams, Saigon actually showed some incredible growth. We talked into the series coming in that OPG was the one that was making some real strides. Then they come out with Vin in the top lane, and Saigon, they just capitalized on every mistake that was made. Yeah, game 2 was a little bit more scrappy in favor of OPG, but Saigon was still the one finding the neutral objectives constantly. I think 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀 did a phenomenal job in the series, making sure those dragons were really under their control.
Absolutely, and we will move on to our MVP of game 2. Who do we think for that one, lads? I know we didn't chat about it, but do you have a consensus between you?
I'm having a really hard time picking who stood out the most in that game itself. 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀, of course, showed up huge. Hin also really worked wonders on that Leona. And Redemption Arc for Style, who this series has looked actually he almost looked like the guy we expected coming into the split.
All right. So do we have an answer?
I have no idea.
Rebel, that means it falls to you. Who is your MVP for game 2? We of course have a player of the series already decided, but we need to pick a game 2 MVP as well.
Yeah, I think specific to game 2, you could talk about the credit of both Hin and then, of course, 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀 through both games. I think they had fantastic performances each. But in game number 2, I actually got to give it to Style. I think Style had some really, really nice kiting on the likes of 𝘂𝗀𝗧 during the team fights. Especially there was the one right in mid lane when he went to kill the minions. He dodged out on the last Q from 𝗁𝗏𝗄𝗏 that might have been enough for an execute. I really love the way that Style played today.
Absolutely, and I'm glad to finally be able to praise him because we've had to be harsh on him so far this split. It's good to be able to pump him up a bit. We don't like being mean to players. But of course, our player of the series was already decided. It was unanimous amongst all of us. It is going to be 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀, who had a fantastic performance today.
Absolutely. He didn't manage to pick up either MVP, but he was a close second in both games. So that's absolutely what you need to be the best across the series. And he gets that recognition.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that is definitely very, very true. And with that, our first series does draw to a close. We'll be back in not too long for the second series of the night, which is going to be just as much fun. There might be a few face changes on the desk, but don't worry. The 2 analysts won't change. We'll figure something out. Who knows? Whatever. You'll find out. Stick around. And once again, I've been Everyday, the host version. With me has been Vinnie. And again, I'd like to give special thanks to our guest, 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀. You've been fantastic so far. We hope to have you on even more. And of course, you'll be here for the second series tonight. If you are enjoying 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀, let him know. Follow his social media. You can see it on the screen. You should also follow Vinnie's. Mine's not on screen at the moment because reasons. But yeah, follow his Twitter. He's a very, very skilled analyst that we are happy to have here. We will see you guys when the second series is loath to begin. See you in a bit, lads.